Paper 48. The Urantia Life. The gods cannot, at least they do not, transform a creature of gross animal nature into a perfected spirit by some mysterious act of creative magic. When the creators desire to produce perfect beings, they do so by direct and original creation, but they never undertake to convert animal origin and material creatures into beings of perfection in a single step. The Urantia life, extending as it does over the various stages of the local universe career, is the only possible approach whereby material mortals could attain the threshold of the spirit world. What magic could death, the natural dissolution of the material body, hold that such a simple step should instantly transform the mortal and material mind into an immortal and perfected spirit? Such beliefs are but ignorant superstitions and pleasing fables. Always this Urantia transition intervenes between the mortal estate and the subsequent spirit status of surviving human beings. This intermediate state of universe progress differs markedly in the various local creations, but in intent and purpose they are all quite similar. The arrangement of the mansion and higher Urantia worlds in Nebadon is fairly typical of the Urantia transition regimes in this part of Orvanton. 1. Urantia materials. The Urantia realms are the local universe liaison spheres between the material and spiritual levels of creature existence. This Urantia life has been known on Urantia since the early days of the planetary prince. From time to time this transition state has been taught to mortals, and the concept, in distorted form, has found a place in present-day religions. The Urantia spheres are the transition phases of mortal ascension through the progression worlds of the local universe. Only the 7 worlds surrounding the finaliter sphere of the local systems are called mansion worlds, but all 56 of the system transition abodes, in common with the higher spheres around the constellations and the universe headquarters, are called Urantia worlds. These creations partake of the physical beauty and the Urantia grandeur of the local universe headquarters spheres. All of these worlds are architectural spheres, and they have just double the number of elements of the evolved planets. Such made-to-order worlds not only abound in the heavy metals and crystals, having 100 physical elements, but likewise have exactly 100 forms of a unique energy organization called Urantia material. The master physical controllers and the Urantia power supervisors are able so to modify the revolutions of the primary units of matter, and at the same time so to transform these associations of energy as to create this new substance. The early Urantia life in the local systems is very much like that of your present material world, becoming less physical and more truly Urantial on the constellation study worlds, and as you advance to the Salvington spheres, you increasingly attain spiritual levels. The Urantia power supervisors are able to effect a union of material and of spiritual energies, thereby organizing a Urantia form of materialization which is receptive to the superimposition of a controlling spirit. When you traverse the Urantia life of Nebadon, these same patient and skillful Urantia power supervisors will successively provide you with 570 Urantia bodies, each one a phase of your progressive transformation. From the time of leaving the material worlds until you are constituted a first-stage spirit on Salvington, you will undergo just 570 separate and descending Urantia changes. 8 of these occur in the system, 71 in the constellation, and 491 during the sojourn on the spheres of Salvington. In the days of the mortal flesh, the divine spirit indwells you almost as a thing apart, in reality an invasion of man by the bestowed spirit of the Universal Father. But in the Urantia life, the spirit will become a real part of your personality, and as you successively pass through the 570 progressive transformations, you ascend from the material to the spiritual estate of creature life. Paul learned of the existence of the Urantia worlds and of the reality of Urantia materials, for he wrote, "They have in heaven a better and more enduring substance, and these Urantia materials are real, literal, even as in the city which has foundations, whose builder and maker is God. And each of these marvelous spheres is a better country, that is, a heavenly one." 2. Urantia power supervisors. These unique beings are exclusively concerned with the supervision of those activities which represent a working combination of spiritual and physical or semi-material energies. They are exclusively devoted to the ministry of Urantia progression. Not that they so much minister to mortals during the transition experience, but they rather make possible the transition environment for the progressing Urantia creatures. They are the channels of Urantia power which sustain and energize the Urantia phases of the transition worlds. Urantia power supervisors are the offspring of a local universe mother spirit. They are fairly standard in design, though differing slightly in nature in the various local creations. They are created for their specific function and require no training before entering upon their responsibilities. The creation of the first Urantia power supervisors is simultaneous with the arrival of the first mortal survivor on the shores of some one of the first mansion worlds in a local universe. They are created in groups of 1,000, classified as follows. 1. Circuit regulators, 400. 2. System coordinators, 200. 3. Planetary custodians, 100. 4. Combined controllers, 100. 5. Liaison stabilizers, 100. 6. Selective assorters, 50. 7. Associate registrars, 50. The power supervisors always serve in their native universe. They are directed exclusively by the joint spirit activity of the universe sun and the universe spirit, but are otherwise a wholly self-governing group. They maintain headquarters on each of the first mansion worlds of the local systems, where they work in close association with both the physical controllers and the seraphim, but function in a world of their own as regards energy manifestation and spirit application. They also sometimes work in connection with supermaterial phenomena on the evolutionary worlds as ministers of temporary assignment, but they rarely serve on the inhabited planets. Neither do they work on the higher training worlds of the superuniverse, being chiefly devoted to the transition regime of Urantia progression in a local universe. 1. Circuit regulators. These are the unique beings who coordinate physical and spiritual energy and regulate its flow into the segregated channels of the Urantia spheres, and these circuits are exclusively planetary, limited to a single world. The Urantia circuits are distinct from and supplementary to both physical and spiritual circuits on the transition worlds, and it requires millions of these regulators to energize even a system of mansion worlds like that of Satania. Circuit regulators initiate those changes in material energies which render them subject to the control and regulation of their associates. These beings are Urantia power generators as well as circuit regulators. Much as a dynamo apparently generates electricity out of the atmosphere, so do these living Urantia dynamos seem to transform the everywhere energies of space into those materials which the Urantia supervisors weave into the bodies and life activities of the ascending mortals. 2. System coordinators. Since each Urantia world has a separate order of Urantia energy, it is exceedingly difficult for humans to visualize these spheres, but on each successive transition sphere, mortals will find the plant life and everything else pertaining to the Urantia existence progressively modified to correspond with the advancing spiritization of the ascending survivor. And since the energy system of each world is thus individualized, these coordinators operate to harmonize and blend such differing power systems into a working unit for the associated spheres of any particular group. Ascending mortals gradually progress from the physical to the spiritual as they advance from one Urantia world to another, hence the necessity for providing an ascending scale of Urantia spheres and an ascending scale of Urantia forms. When mansion world ascenders pass from one sphere to another, they are delivered by the transport seraphim to the receivers of the system coordinators on the advanced world. Here in those unique temples at the center of the 70 radiating wings, wherein are the chambers of transition, similar to the resurrection halls on the initial world of reception for Earth origin mortals, the necessary changes in creature form are skillfully effected by the system coordinators. These early Urantia form changes require about 7 days of standard time for their accomplishment. 3.